Welcome back to the Michigan Business Beat, brought to you on the Michigan Business Network. Chris Holman here, coming to you from our studios at the Capital Region International Airport, right? Always ready to take off, mostly to chase business stories. And here is a pretty fascinating one, actually. Theile joins us right now. She's the Vice President and Director of Economic Analysis and Public Policy, the Anderson Economic Group in East Lansing. And boy, you guys do some fascinating stuff, but welcome back, Tyler. I got to feel that this was kind of fun.
You are exactly right. We have the privilege of doing economic impact analysis for all sorts of events and organizations, but this one is really just for fun.
All right, so give us a little rundown, actually, on the Anderson Economic Group and what you guys do.
Sure. Well, we have three practice areas. I'm focused on, as you mentioned, public policy and economic impact analysis. So doing an analysis of NFL draft economic impact is born out of the methods that we've been able to hone in working on other projects. Everything from, Art Prize, which is a 3-week long free event, to entire industries or underground labs where we need to defend our economic impact analysis with the federal government. So as you can see, there's a wide ranging area of expertise we've gotten to sort of flex here and put into something fun to highlight how great the NFL draft events are for the Detroit area.
Yeah. Let's talk about that a little bit, because you did do that analysis and the economic impact. And I don't think people were ever aware of the fact that there was an economic impact and how big these things are.
Right. I mean, the NFL draft, if we boil it down to its simplest, it could be some phone calls and emails, but they've made it into this huge community building annual event where many, many people and families can come and take part in the fun, even if they don't have the opportunity to go to games regularly or be traveling for playoff events. So this is really exciting that so many families can take part in these events and enjoy downtown Detroit. So we're estimating over 255,000 attendees are likely to come down for the 3 days.
Wow. And what would the economic impact of that be?
So when we look at attendee expenditures from those attendees, investments by NFL and Visit Detroit and other organizations, we estimate a total direct economic impact of over $97 million. Those dollars do not stop there. They'll be spent and respent, at least a portion of them before they leave the area or get, watered down into different areas and industries. So we're estimating an additional $63 million in indirect impact. And that's where we get our total economic impact of over 160 million that we're estimating.
That's a great segue into the next question, because I'm always dizzy as to how we wound up with this analysis. Tell me a little bit about the methodology.
Sure. So when we look at attendee expenditures, we consider, for example, hotel capacity and the fraction of folks who might stay 1 or 2 or 3 nights while they're there, or media folks like you guys who might be in town for 5 nights covering the whole event, prep and tear down afterwards. So we think about those kinds of expenditures: parking, food, a little bit on souvenirs, of course some Bud Light, because people will be seeing those advertisements very frequently while they're down there. And then we consider carefully the substitution and the economic activity that's displaced. Of course, thousands of people normally spend their weekends eating and being entertained and shopping in downtown Detroit. And some of those folks will be displaced by these activities. So even though the economic impact is great, we do have to consider those things and make sure the numbers are grounded. And then when we look at the investment by NFL and other organizations, we try to carefully consider how much of that money can be spent within the area and how much will leave right away.
So remind everybody that the economic impact of a couple of home games in the NFL playoffs for the Lions by comparison.
Yeah, so that's a different analysis, and in some ways easier, because we can look at ticket sales and spending on tickets. We know that folks are more likely to stay the night in town as well. Of course, again, that has to do with hotel capacity and the fact that it's a 1-day event. But those types of analyses and what we know to be true about the economic impact of those certainly factor into our assumptions and methods here to make sure we're getting at an accurate number.
Is there anything else we should know about maybe the short term, but also the long-term effects on Detroit?
Sure. Well, when it comes to short term, we're being a little bit generous in our estimation of indirect economic impact because Visit Detroit and other entities started months ago doing a great job of making sure small businesses and medium-sized businesses will be out there taking advantage of this over the 3 days and into the future. But when it comes to broadcasting rights and all the folks who will visit downtown and see a store or a restaurant or a hotel that they didn't get to spend their hard-earned dollars at this time, it will give them ideas to come back and schedule a return visit. So those types of additional indirect and induced impacts are not captured here, but they will be significant for Detroit.
Well, it's good. We need significant stuff happening down there. And as always, Tyler Theile, Vice President and Director of Economic Analysis for the Public Policy at Anderson Economic Group. Thanks so much for joining us, and give our best to Dr. Patrick Anderson, if you would.
Thanks so much for having me. I sure will.
You've been watching the Michigan Business Beat on the Michigan Business Network. I'm Chris Holman.